What are your thoughts on using psychedelics to treat addiction?
It's a new field. It's a lot of research. I'm involved with Louisiana Addiction Research Center in some research we're doing. We have a biotech company looking for a chemical cure for addiction called Addiction Cure Therapeutic Sciences. It's a long road. I know they're studying psychedelics there, and they're having a little bit of success. I think anything that works would be wonderful. The however would be two howevers. One is, you can't do psychedelics by yourself. You have to be accompanied by kind of a guide, and we would say they're a trip guide. That's
Trip sitter.
Not everybody will be able to afford it. And then the question is it really a one-time, two-time thing? Or are you going to be doing psychedelics and you're going to be tuning up every week or every month for the rest of your life? In which case, you've replaced one drug with another. But I will say this, the big debate and rage on medically assisted treatment, a lot of people will say, well, you're not clean if you're doing any drug, which, is technically true. And I used to believe that, no, you had to give up everything until I heard a therapist friend of mine, Louis Delgado, say very appropriately, he said, listen, I'd rather have the guy alive on Suboxone or something so I can talk to him about getting off it than have him dead and overdosed. And I thought, you know what, that makes sense. So I think it's a very individual thing. I think that, listen, of course, total sobriety is the answer, of course. But, if you can't get there that way, then go medically assisted treatment. I hope psychedelics are the cure. I hope ketamine or ibogaine or any of these things, psilocybin, are a cure and can bring people out. I know they're working on it for depression and anxiety, many other things as well. It's amazing what science has done. What is fascinating to me, Sean, is that there are some people in addiction, and I look at it, I compare it to, you broke your leg in a soccer game, you broke your leg in a car crash, a mafia guy hit you, broke your leg with a bat, or you tripped over a hole and broke your leg. Can you imagine how absurd it would be to say, well, I'm not going to go to the hospital to get treatment because I broke it in a hole. If I'd only broken it this way, I'd go. My comment to everybody struggling with addiction is, I will listen to your story for 2 hours, and I will sympathize and believe yours is the worst case ever. And really, I'm not being facetious. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is, do you want help? Yes or no? It doesn't matter how you got there. It's a shame how you got there, whether it's a shame. But the only question is, do you want help? If you want help, there's a way out. As a matter of fact, there's 7 ways out. So would you pick one of them? And the equation I give you is, if you told me today I wanted to go to New York, I said, great, there's a plane leaving now. You can be there in 2.5 hours. You said, I won't fly. I said, all right, will you take an Amtrak? It'll get you in 24 hours. I will take the train. Will you take a Greyhound? Will you take a bus? No. Will you drive? Will you hitchhike? Will you call Uber? Will you walk? Will you go horseback? Will you go camel? All of them will get you to New York, some more efficiently and effectively than others, some more costly. All of them will get you there. So there are 7 ways at least out of drug addiction and alcohol addiction. The question is, do you want a way out? There's a way out. There's hope for everybody. When I wrote the book, Addiction Recovery Handbook, which we're giving away for free as an ebook, and My Addict, Your Addict, I'm sure you'll tell people at the end, I realized there were 4 themes that came through in the book. 17 different writers didn't know what each guy was writing about. And the themes that came through was, it's a terrible disease, we all agree with that, but there's a way out, and that you have to treat the whole person, spiritually, emotionally, physically, relationally, but there's a way out for anybody that wants it. So pick one and take it.
Yeah, that's a great point. You just gotta, just like anything else. I mean, you just gotta start, right? When you have a project, you're sitting there looking at, something you need to do, something you don't want to do, and this is huge, giant task and undertaking. Well, what are you going to do? You're going to sit there and just think about how hard it's going to be, or are you going to get in there, start it, and figure it out as you go? I heard somebody said this to me a couple of times. I've heard it before, and then I heard it again that reminded me of it today. It's start messy. It's okay to start messy. Start messy. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be at the treatment center. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do that. I mean, what I did, well, jail helped, but jail did help a little bit. But you know what? When I quit, I stopped before I went to jail. So, because I had time to turn myself in, and so I didn't want to be kicking while I was in a facility that I wasn't familiar with, right?
Yep.
I'd never been there before. I didn't know what the situation would be, so I didn't want to be kicking something and be vulnerable. So, yeah.
And people, a lot of times, Sean, one of the issues is that, they always talk about the guy who's talking the loudest. Everybody thinks what worked for them is the only way. The AA guy, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, I love AA, will say AA is the only way. the rehab guy rehab, the outpatient guy outpatient, the teen challenge guy teen challenge. Well, that worked for you. I mean, look, you can NA or AA will do it if you follow the program and get to the core. Certainly, treatment, a 30-day program, a 90-day, a year-long program like Teen Challenge or Faith Farm. Outpatient, Celebrate Recovery. I mean, there's so many different ones.
Therapeutic communities are a really, really good option that have really high success rates.
I love it. But pick one, but don't just, listen to one guy. I mean, I used to edit a back pain magazine. There was 7 ways to, eight ways to get out of back pain. But surgery was pretty radical. But you talk to a surgeon, tell him I have back pain. He says, I can fix you, but I need to operate. The chiropractor says, I need to adjust your back. The reflexologist, let me massage your toes. So it'd be a good idea before you have surgery to do the other ones. So I say, that's why I wrote the Addiction Recovery Handbook. And I'm not saying it's to promote the book. We're giving it away for free. So there's no financial motivation. We want to help people, want to help. But I wanted to give you all the different views. I have therapists, doctors, psychologists, psychiatrists, AA guy, Teen Challenge guy, this guy, that guy, all these different views. Darryl Strawberry wrote the forward, champion baseball player and recovery guy. And I think after you read it, you'll have all the views. When I wrote My Addict, Your Addict, my other addiction book, it was a very quick read meant to really get to the heart for somebody who's struggling with addiction to understand that there's ways out. So they're both available for free. Are you going to give them the website after, Sean, or you want me to give it to them now?
The website's right on the screen.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, brother. It's on the screen. So there it is. If you go Jack Allen Levine, go to ebooks. After if you go Jack Allen Levine /ebooks, you'll come up to all the ebooks. Any book I wrote, you can have for free as an ebook copy, and I hope it's a blessing to you. So go to the ebook store. And that's it. We want to help people recover. I mean, like I said, like you're doing your podcast, and I think it's just beautiful. Your stories of, nowhere to go, but come on. One example I want to give you is, and I say this to guys when I speak, I say, listen, you're 40 years old, you're 50 years old, you think it's too late. You say, oh, if I could only be 17 years old again, I would do it right. There's a 17-year-old kid sitting in rehab with you. He's 17, he don't know nothing. He's handsome, he can play guitar. His father's going to give him the family business. He's got everything going for him. You're 50, you're thinking, I'm a loser, I blew it. He dies tomorrow in a car crash, and you live 40 more years. You can't look at anybody else. There's hope. All it takes is to turn and change. And you're an example, Sean, and so am I. I'm not saying we're great, amazing. I'm saying that all we did was we turned away. We turned to the life of recovery, whether it was God as it was for me individually or a higher power or none of the above, whatever it is, just stop using the drugs. They're taking you to hell. They're taking you down, they're destroying your life. You know it. And there is a way out. The only question is, do you want it? And I got to tell you this real story quick. I know. And my son was struggling with addiction himself. And he had been in jail a couple of times, and he was using, and he knew my history, and he knew his mother's history. She hadn't had a drink in 35 years. And so one time we had to kick him out of the house, which was really unfortunate, but we were 2 younger kids. And he flipped his car over on I-95, and I had to get him out of the hospital for like the 10th time. I go pick him up. He's all bloody. I bring him home. We already kicked him out of the house. And he wakes up, and I looked at him. I said, listen, I'm not mad at you. I said, we're so far past mad. It's unbelievable. I said, do you want help? He said, can I think about it? I said, you got an hour. He came back down. He said, yeah, I want help. I said, one thing. I said, don't do me no favors, and don't do your mother no favors. This isn't about me or her. This is about you and your life. If you want help, if you want a better life, there's help in a better life. And I'm happy to say he did go into rehab. He got the help he needed. He's been clean and sober 8 years, married, a grandkid. It's a wonderful story, but it took him a while, and it took me a while, and it took you a while. But there's a way out for everybody that wants it. Don't give up hope. Don't let Satan lie to you and tell you you're worthless. Don't let the world lie to you. Don't listen to freaking Instagram and Facebook and all these things. Just believe. You're created for a purpose and a good one. God loves you. Your family loves you. We want to see you have the best life possible. And there's a way out, but you have to take it.